Our Last Stand. Report number 9. Exposing the biggest fraud on earth. The Fed's quadrillion-dollar scam. Exposing the biggest Fed quadrillion scam on earth and putting the spotlight on the Fed's worst possible nightmare. Remember how Madoff came down? Exposure and closure. Before we take you to the key and real case of trusting Johann Rottier, who has been deceived and betrayed for decades by the Washington and New York Zionist cabal, each time he has tried from his heart to found hospitals, medical centers, and make a real contribution to humanity and mankind, his U.S. Treasury check Fed account has been denied. Yet we had confirmed it as real. His is the largest USFRBNY Federal Reserve Bank of New York and U.S. Treasury agency scam on the planet, and he is the innocent victim. As are many more. Such vast amounts have been plundered and wasted, so much as could regenerate the global economies, and fund the long-awaited nation's currency RV's revaluations. The travesty of justice, that is the FRBNY and HS Homeland Security, has a lot to answer for. This truth can set America and the elders free. Truth the world needs. It's time now for a free democratic world. No more of their banking Shylocks. Now, at last, following a trusted, highly reputable law office from a recognized sovereign nation is performing the Herculean task and endeavors to progress his long-deserving case, China is coming on board via Beijing. Truth will be verified. His ancestral case and history has been checked and also verified, as we also did, to determine that yours has a truthful and bona fide case. One of so many more unfortunate trusting U.S. hegemony victims. Like the other 4,500+ looted elders' accounts, all are victims. All trusted the U.S., and all paid. Ask the Native Americans about hegemony. The bad news for the USFRB Federal Reserve Bank is that China will soon become a partial benefactor and they will be served with the biggest Chinese redemption marker you ever conceived. Those are Chinese ancestral assets they stole. Their secrets will not stay buried. These assets, if correctly used, can rebuild America, Asia and Europe. Where have these vast funds been going to because none met the elders' ethos? We need to free them up and feed need not greed. Payback time is coming. Why has Mr. Roddy never been paid? Why keep renewing his contracts if not correct? Where have the vast profits gone? We could so much have helped America and the world. Mr. Roddy, from the heart, will assist nations and good causes once we unlock the claws of these pariahs. What you will see will show you your deep state. We need President Trump to deep six the lot. Clean the swamp. Let's get America working again. Redeem trust and repay Mr. Roddy. Expose and end these U.S. Treasury and FRBNY lies. Pay back what is owed. We will expose the mistruths about his non-existent links to Soren, the U.S. HS Homeland Security criminal protected asset used to pull off the Pure Heart scam in preceding Our Last Stand series articles. Not to confuse, this one focuses on trusting Ure and his betrayal by unscrupulous U.S. parties. The case is that these misappropriated funds must be redeemed and used for global good. Including the RVs. No more funding false U.S. bases. These funds are to fund humanity, not the FRBNY cabal and their ilk. Pay back what is owed and let your help so many good causes and needs. Instead, as with Leo Wanta and so many more, they lie, obfuscate, malign reputations and conceal truth. End the cover-ups and redeem what is owed. It also brings up again the question why Michael Herzog, arrested in Berlin, both his offices and home raided by Interpol, with bank trading contracts fronted by George Bush 41 seized and copies given to Falcone's attorneys, has not been charged and extradited to the U.S. as UK bankers were for far lesser alleged frauds. Herzog is a known bagman for Bush 41, the Clintons, linked also strongly to Joseph Ackerman, ex-Deutsche Bank CEO, and the CIA. Herzog has openly threatened that if he stands trial in the U.S. and his money is taken, he will unleash all the secrets and dirt on Bush 41, the Clintons, the agency and other parties used to launder Biden's bribe money. Also, Falcone's attorneys hold the evidence on which government planes were used by Bush 41 to fly known CIA agents around the world laundering Joe Biden's bribe money to stop the tracking by forensic agents hired gaining access to his account records. Too bad, they did. So despite Herzog's arrest by Interpol, hard evidence supplied to the U.S. and Falcone's attorneys, is Herzog's threat to take them all down why he is not on trial? Why not? America can then detect and recover vast capital amounts, and clean up corruption at the top. Help President Trump drain the swamp. Now is the time. Help justice fight back in America. Extradite Herzog and open the can. Which programs? Who was paid? How much was tax evaded via offshore banks? Romney is implicated, and more. Bring in Herzog and bring them down. The scale of endemic corruption is off the Richter scale. In the optimism, not naive hope, that the newly assembled, Trump-managing, White House team are real and true patriots, prepared to actually fulfill the honor and commitments of their office to recover their nation and redeem the broken trust in Americans worldwide, we and all like-type caring groups, are now releasing ever more detailed evidence of the vast corruption and criminality which has afflicted America for decades. It's created this ugly Washington paradise for political criminals, unscrupulous bankers, liars and traitors. This privately owned Fed with Zionist racketeering, U.S. Treasury corruption, in conjunction with its bait-and-switch partner FRBNY, has funded the cabal's murder of millions. Exporting mass genocide, protecting in truth not nations but only energy and arms contracts, also drug trade, with CIA-inspired criminal regime changes to suit. This new report is issued in the hope that Trump and his team will at last actually investigate and seek, demand, the recovery of the truly vast trillion siphoned off by these treasonous conspirators scavengers, the loathsome, thieving FRBNY, and seek forced reparation from those responsible. The Saudis can, as they now lead America in cleaning their own house. Why not America? China now has this on board. It's wake-up time. It's not going away. Payback will now come, by demand, from a country that has teeth. Also the economic power to pull the plug if crossed. This will now not go away, it's out. Truth always breaks free. The ESF Exchange Stabilization Fund, Part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the CIA and cabal vehicle used by successive cabal-corrupted presidents such as the Bushes, Clinton and Obama to wage wars supporting agency chicanery, and for all to line their own pockets as the Bushes and Clintons, now also Obama, have done for decades. U.S. corruption in office is vast. No other nation comes close. This is the cabal's own specter deep throat agencies also supporting unit for extortion, terrorism, fraud and money laundering. China executes corruption. America needs to. We are asked, who are Spectre? Have you never seen James Bond, you ignoramus? Joking. But not really. Truth, it's the U.S. cabal. Perverse, ugly and the ringmaster money machine to keep U.S. hegemony alive and thriving by chicanery. Exposing the truly vast scale of deception and fraud is a start. Naming, shaming, acting. Taking back these vast megatrillions of stolen and defrauded funds now, which will save America, fund the RVs and rebuild the world economy. Yes, we can. We must, and with China's support, we can. Does it take shaming these liars and exposing their lies to get action? It was just not possible under Kenyan, Indonesian criminal Barry Soetoro Obama, deep state front posturing, con man. Why did he not use these funds for good? Barry Soetoro, deep state asset, has a lot to answer for. America, its people and our global world, has been looted blind, and defrauded by these charlatans, posing tyrants, with uncontrolled CIA racketeering unchecked. No one bar Israeli-run Zionists or puppets are allowed to hold the key U.S. Treasury and Fed jobs. And it, now. It's a farce. Overrun by illegals like Barry Soetoro, looted by hoodlums. Stop this banking oligopoly now. No more Fed Zionist puppets. Wake up. Remove the sequestrating Zionists and crooks from the Fed and clean it up. End the privately owned Fed. What the Constitution advocates don't realize is that with almost all politicians are Zionist puppets, purchased with campaign donations and favors. With 4 Zionist puppets serving on the Supreme Court, the prospect for ending the Fed or restoring the Constitution is impossible. What's left? A call for a military coup? Best case scenario is the officer corps shutting down the Fed, canceling debts on the grounds of the Fed lending counterfeit money, and establishing a national bank that coins its own money. No more looting of America. Finish these fraudsters' games. Clear their Fed's ties. Stop Israel and special interests groups from funding American political seats and end these obligated oaths of allegiance to Israel. Stop their rackets and free America. Under the deep state remit of the usurper reign of Barry Soetoro, unlawful Kenyan, Indonesian con man, who illegally held office for 8 years, and conspires still with others such as the Clintons and Bushes, to continue to loot America blind, with contemptuous disregard for justice or you, America sank ever deeper into debt. Elect an inexperienced union organizer, you get deep state chaos, as the world has not only witnessed, but fallen victim to. As the cabal, like Lucky Luciano and the mob before them, own justice, FBI and CIA, each believe themselves impervious to and above the law. It must stop, now. Mongrels unchecked fit only for the dog pound. They all are scheming devious Benghazi-type traitors, who each and all need, and deserve, to be locked up as RICO conspirators for life. The contract we are showing now in this report, is one of many to put them all on trial. RICO and no less. Dodge Department of Justice, where have these funds gone? Also, with your support and backing, to help Trump and the team, to stand up for and to recover America. Trump needs to put a recovery team on this contract. Do it, Donald. Do it for all Americans. Take back these trillions before China comes knocking. Follow the money. Do what is right. Rebuild trust. Regain leadership of a nation so ravaged by thievery and corruption. As ever more disturbing and deeply incriminating articles are also appearing, mainly still in the alternative free press, as the MSM is still Zionist, CIA, no propaganda prostitutes, it's time to start to unleash truth as to the unbelievable scale of criminality of the Bush, Clinton, Zionist, Jesuit, each a separate link orchestrated deep state and U.S. military-industrial cabal, all this supported by the largest criminal fraud in history which we show you today. We expose their devious money laundering, false fiat activities generated by the Zionist-controlled U.S. Treasury, Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Foreign-owned, non-audited and responsible to no one bar its criminal overlords. This lot is as close to a James Bond's Spectre syndicate as you can get, but without the heroics or style. Rodents. A few years ago, when the FRBNY's Chris McCurdy was first exposed as the FRBNY deep cover section head, fronting the truly vast year fraud, his blind panic was immediate and he disappeared from Fed New York staff record site within weeks, attempting to distance himself from exposure and retribution. Sorry, but a wall of deeply incriminating evidence is held, his compliance cohort patsies too. Plus electronic footprints to indict the lot of them for perjury. His flights to Swiss and other banks recorded and known. Section staff also. Names, records, the corruption net is on record. Also their fully recorded dealings with the BIS Bank for International Settlements and Fed in Jakarta. Greenspan's visits to Jakarta for this contract are known. The bank officers and others, plus ministers, all on record. Bernanke's flight to London for the $15 trillion scam. This is only the tip of the iceberg. They have no idea how much deep trouble they are now in. You're now has backing, and a very big dog. A dog who has many reasons to bite. The big question now is, will Trump's team, elected to take this cabal, deep state down, really go after them to take back what was stolen? To take back America? Or choke? Man up, or shut up. The time is here. Actions only will speak. Clinton still walks free as he chokes. Pay back what is owed and rebuild trust. This contract, now publicly released, shows you the truth of what was done in Americans' name and America's shame. Trusting, innocent investors were disemboweled by these carrion. As so many have been, ranging from the stolen Marcos funds, the reneging on so many Chinese elders' contracts, the vast pallets of US dollars sitting in warehouses across Asia, all off balance sheet and needing conversion to bring them back into allow value and stabilize nations. 40 years of trust destroyed. Memories are long. Knowing well the betrayal of Marcos and the elders, the key dynasty families now block the U.S. from any access to the vast hidden gold depositories, and the cash pallets. America has lost Asia, will lose Eurasia, is fast losing the Middle East, and its own way. All remember the Fed's rapid intervention and theft of the on-balance sheet Taiwan bank funds hot cash transfer for Tropos, which even en route to then Wachovia Bank, was blatantly electronically intercepted and used for more Fed chicanery-supported ventures. None of this thieving operation goes unnoticed. The global banking reservations of any cross-involvement with the Fed are of legendary notoriety. Tropos to this day remains unpaid, as do all other non-redeemed creditors. Each victims of the Fed. Where are the Tropos funds? Who and where are those who benefited from the theft? Where are the elders 4,500 plus, U.S. cabal sequestrated, trust companies' funds? Have any not been stolen? Who redeems the Marcos gold, of which part still sits today in the Bank of England backing a joint bank trading program with the Fed? Case after case after case, same modus operandi. Theft, fraud, lies and betrayal. All in America's name, the Treasury, FRBNY bait and switch scam. So many trusting victims. Nothing gets done. Can DC and FRBNY even spell integrity? Where has all this money gone? It's time a commission found out. Preferably cross-represented by competent foreign professional law firms and forensic analysts. Payback is long overdue. The elders have been ruthlessly deceived, lied to and manipulated. Nations, so many needing causes deserving of their profit shares have all been denied. Even Year's first $500 million USD contracted transfer as part of his signing on agreement was intercepted and stolen, just as with Tropos, the Falcone funds and so many more. This is a ruthless, pernicious cabal regime that needs dismantling. Chinese corruption sentences need to be applied as organ donors. If not imposed by leadership domestically, sentences will come in the future from abroad with a vengeance. Hong Kong lawyers are now working with senior Chinese government officials in Beijing, where the whole Year case has been fully authenticated, his history proven, and the staggering amounts now compounded to, are now being assessed. It will not go away, unlike many who deserve to. This is now becoming an issue which can bankrupt America. Swaggering around the world with 990-plus bases funded by fraud is about to come home as China is taking it up. These are Chinese dynasty heritage funds and China will not stand by doing nothing. The point, as always, is when do the big dogs fight? This is a damn big bone the ailing dog took, and the younger, bigger, emerging challenger now wants it back. Or else? The good news for us at last, is that China is now taking it on board. Yours and elders' lawyers are on it. Chinese heritage funds invest, staggering, compounded trillions will come home with a bang. They thought they had got away with it. Not this time. China sees this shame. China will want its share now of dynasty assets. This bone is more than big enough for the two big dogs to fight. Every year it has compounded and grown and yours lawful, legal and ethical share has been sequestrated. His joint venture account plundered and his lawful share stolen every month. They even used him and his fund's share to bail out Obama with the $15 trillion scam to cover Treasury shortfalls. Their combined criminality knows no bounds. Before we invested such major time and money behind the Ur contract and others, we first undertook serious and real diligence because even then such numbers were alarming and have grown 100-fold since. The first key question was, are these truly vast trillions real? Step 1, we funded at our own significant cost, an ex-senior White House presidential legal advisor, a then top D.C. attorney law firm partner, lobbyist and respected advisor to NASA and others, to ascertain sensitively from the top, were these accounts and FRBNY debts real and asked how could we safely proceed? We asked, was this a scam or real contracts, and did these funds actually exist? With the notorious Fed, how could we safely proceed? Had the U.S. Treasury actually been party to this? If so, huge implications, and those now coming home. Within days we were provided with unequivocal confirmation. Yes. These contracts and funds were real, albeit heavily used on the Fed, Pentagon gray screen systems under FRBNY control, and at the time, also being used by Clinton himself, among others. That was cross-advised by our advisor's own son-in-law working directly within the Treasury himself, but advised this had to be a verbal confirmation only due to its extreme sensitivity as a key White House asset, and thus its sensitivity. Real accounts. Hidden from the public. A special program, as later defined for us by the governor of the Bank of Indonesia, had been set up via the Fed working with Bank of Indonesia in Jakarta. A special contract, plus sheltered account, was set up for the contract. Although the Treasury do not run public accounts, or the Fed, because this was in conjunction with the buys, a special subaccount was set up for a year, as exhibited and cross-managed via the FRBNY operation. Be clear, we are talking of the direct, previously White House-based personal and private senior legal advisor to the then president himself, with all the access and contact points endowed. It goes no higher to establish and verify authenticity. Contrary to the false Fed websites denying and covering its tracks, the Ur case is very real. As are the records of those attending in Jakarta with Bank of Indonesia officials and ministers, for the original contracts. Attested soundly from the top. Real, we were strongly advised to step with great care because lies, denials and subterfuge are standard daily bag tools of DC and NY. Bush 43 also had major use of those funds and funded the Kuwait war from them. These are deep state stolen assets. As with the Marcos funds, aren't they all? Lucky Luciano's structure of corrupt officials are still in power. Same types. Corruption thrives. Step 2, we also requested Ur to assist us establish unequivocal truth and facts, and to get the then governor of the Bank of Indonesia to personally attest the authenticity of this account, which he graciously did, and he progressed to become deputy president. A man of sound integrity, a word missing from the U.S. political dictionary with the exposed corrupt Nixon, Bushes, Clintons and thieving bankers. This article will be sitting on the desks of both the Chinese and Russian high commands. Proof positive they cannot trust Washington, as the poor Native Americans also found to their cost. The federal-state gut-rotten deceit and chicanery was evident even then. Same zoo. Wild West rules. All empires end badly. Trump needs to read it and act. Otherwise it will be embarrassing to have China face him down unprepared. Draining the swamp. He gets it. So now, it's who, and when. Or, why not? The contract, be clear, is way beyond the limited English of Yuan, and he has no infrastructure to create such articulate contracts, nor would invoke the wrath of Jakarta. This in no way impugns his intellect or integrity. He is a well-meaning, intelligent man and another Fed victim. English is not his language. Simply that. All contracts are genuine. Yuan is only custodian in trust of the elders' assets assigned for his portion of safekeeping. He was allocated 1,450 plus amount of gold to be held in perpetuity for the beneficial interests of his nation and humanity. Not for personal spending or sales. A bank and state bond was raised which we have as evidence, but will not release. This underpinned it all. Yuan sought help and guidance from his friend Bodiano, the then governor of the Bank of Indonesia, and asked for help to utilize and administer the trust. The governor in turn contacted the U.S. Treasury and Fed. A U.S. team controlled by Greenspan was flown in to create an insurance-backed gold bond, used to then hypothecate and underpin a self-compounding trading program on the terms agreed in the contract. We know the authentic history. Truth as stated. We know Yuan, his personal medical doctor also, who is a good and moral man who looks after Yuan with care. He, as a medical professional, has seen this for decades, assisting Yuan sometimes with translations, and is appalled with U.S. conduct and treachery. We know them both well and have good working relationships with them. It is good that the HK lawyers have now brought Beijing in at the top. You know how they deal with criminals. America is full also of very good, caring and intelligent ethical professionals. This sort of conduct demeans us all, and transfers of funds meant to house, educate and feed humanity, into funding black operations, agency hegemony and the worst kind of political chicanery. As with the leaked criminal Hillary documents, it's long overdue time all American people see what is done in their name, while others steal the gain. Endemic corruption. Now, the world sees. These funds owed to Yuan have now amassed such colossal compounded collateral value as to give us the combined means to clear the U.S. budget shortfalls, to even clear the entire U.S. national debt if we negotiate it with Yuan, which we can, to fund desperate Asian needs, to fund global needs, and to underpin a new global RV. A real one. With Yuan's help we can do great things. Feeding need, not cabal and Zionist greed. Doing right will put right so many global wrongs. China invented gunpowder. HK lawyers have just lit the fuse. Fireworks are coming. So is justice. Why have these vast funds not been used as intended? Who has siphoned what? Who now will put it right and back? Be clear. If Yuan Radi is repaid what he is lawfully owed, as per the contracts they have reneged on, those vast capital amounts recovered can be used to help his own nation, and many more, to undertake vast economic and social programs, job creation, hospitals, schools, infrastructure, increasing public wealth for you all and lowering taxes. Putting such vast trillions back where it should be. Draining the swamp. Where is the treason line in America? How do we all help Yoan get his money back and working for humanity? Always they try to falsely deny and malign his name. If it's not genuine, why keep renewing his contracts? Hello? Let's all just help get justice. We need all your voices. Let's all ask the president to work with us and help recover these funds to feed need, not greed. Bring in Herzog. That is Bush 41's, FRBNY's and both Clinton's worst nightmare. Truth.